This is a Teardrop trailer that I built over a 6-month time period. It was built on an existing utility trailer that was modified to accommodate the Teardrop. Built of plywood and coated with fiberglass, making it very rugged and watertight. It is insulated with a 1.5 inch of foam insulation in the ceiling and in the floor, and a 1 inch of foam insulation in the walls. It is powered by a 12-volt battery mounted on the tongue and 120 volts AC 30 amp supply. The hatch in the rear is mounted to a hurricane hinge that opens to reveal the galley with a pull-out sink area and a fold-up prep table that can double as a support for a hot plate. The doors were custom built as part of the project. You can see this door has a window mounted in it along with a shade and traditional teardrop latches and a deadbolt. When we look at the inside, we see there's a cabinet towards the rear and the 1/8 inch plywood interior that's trimmed in pine and oak, along with the cabinets in the front and the aircraft style reading lights. There is a switch there for the ceiling fan, and when you look towards the rear of the trailer, we see the 30 amp breaker box with two breakers in it. We'll see that closer a little bit later on, and we see the custom made cushions and the closer look at the door latch assembly and deadbolt assembly to provide a little added security there. The front has a number of cabinets along with pull-out glove box style cabinets. This is the 30 amp panel board covered with the cover in place, and when we remove the cover, it just slides back. There's the two 15 amp breakers and the 30 amp power cable coming in that is 10 gauge. All the other wiring is 14 gauge in the entire trailer. The DC supply comes from the battery and this little fuse box that is automotive style fuse box. It's mounted in one of the cabinets up above. These sliding doors slide out, slide back, and reveal the interior of a very large cabinet for clothing. This is a little $100 air conditioner available at Lowe's or Home Depot that is used to cool the trailer. It has an auxiliary fan mounted underneath and ducted up to supply cool air to the compressor. These are the little glove box style cabinets. And when we look at the inside a little bit more and look at the ceiling area, we can see the trim and the ceiling fan and the interior overhead light and a smoke detector, which is very important to have in the trailer. This is the galley area with the hatch up. The hatch is connected to a hurricane hinge and supported by two dowels, one on each side. It also has a pull-out sink. The faucet folds out over the sink, and next to it is a prep table. The prep table is supported by another dowel, and then both items are held in place by a rubber strap. The galley has two receptacles. You can see those mounted in the center. They're GFI protected. And next to each one, and next to those two receptacles on either side are cabinets for storing food items, and another shelf just below those for putting a toaster oven and a Keurig or whatever else you would need to place on that. When we look under the sink, we can see the plumbing is plumbed down through the bottom of the trailer and out to the outside. The dowels are attached securely using marine deck fasteners and through pins to keep a gust of wind from lifting the galley hatch and causing it to fall. This is a hurricane hinge. They extend an additional half an inch past the sides of the trailer to allow water to flow freely from the roof down the sides. And here we can see on the port side of the trailer the connection points for the 120 volt 30 amp AC supply, along with the water hookup. This is a 30 amp inlet, very common among campgrounds. There are 4 of these fold down supports, one on each corner of the trailer, that are used to keep the trailer from tipping and to keep it stable when we are using it to camp with. Mounted on the tongue is a 12 volt battery that supplies the power for the lights, interior and exterior. And then mounted on the hitch is a U-bolt that quiets the hitch from rattling when we're traveling. Underneath is the plumbing for the sink that's plumbed to the outside that actually gets hooked to the sewer at the campground. And here we have the hatches up, the sink and prep table are stowed, and we're ready to travel. Here we have the galley hatches down. Just to note that the wheels, fenders, and vent came from eTrailer.com. They did a great job, as did Teardrop TrailerParts.com, where I got the trim and windows from. They did a great job. This is what I started with. It's a 5,000 pound capacity utility trailer that I wire brushed and put in primer, and then cut the sides down and remove the fenders to accommodate the teardrop. Here I've added the framing using treated lumber and treated lumber fasteners. On top of that goes 5/8 inch plywood, exterior grade, with coating underneath to make it waterproof. Here you see the sides starting to go up. They're 1/2 inch plywood, and the bulkhead between the sleeping compartment and the galley is also in place. The plywood framing is starting to go in on the inside, which stiffens the plywood and makes it flat. And you can see here the bulkhead between the sleeping compartment and the galley. Here we're putting in the air conditioner, and it's in place along with some of the framing for the inside cabinet that's in the back. You can see some of the framing going in on the walls that will receive the other framing for the cabinets in the front part of the sleeping area. Here's the cabinets going in, the framing for the galley. Here we see most of the wiring is installed, along with the 1 inch foam insulation that goes in the walls. You can see the panel board with the 2 15 amp breakers is installed. And when we look at the front curve, which has to match on both sides, obviously, of the trailer, you can see the insulation going in there. Looking towards the rear of the trailer, we can see that the roof is not started yet, but it'll be coming along shortly. And we see here the installation of the fuse box for the 12 volt DC is in place. And here we're checking the floor length to make sure that the cabinetry in the front allows enough floor space for whomever is going to be sleeping in the trailer. Here we see the interior skin going on, the cabinet in the back is on, and the roof is progressing. The roof is starting to move down toward the curve in the front here. Here we've added the interior plywood and the exterior 1/4 inch plywood to the roof line in the front of the curve. You can see now the 1/4 inch plywood for the roof is bent over the curve. Looking inside, the cabinetry for the inside is pretty much finished off, except for the addition of a couple of coats of polyurethane. It's trimmed out in pine and oak. The oak was actually old flooring that was cut to fit. Here we have the Galley cabinetry getting ready to receive the countertop material and the installation of the sink and the prep table, which is right beside it, and the swing out faucet. Here all the exterior plywood has been installed on the trailer. We're caulking, getting joints caulked and the nail holes filled in preparation for the application of a fiberglass coating that will consist of 2 coats of resin along with a layer of chop strand mat and a final layer of gel coat. And you can see it turned out quite nicely. It's very waterproof and very rugged. Fiberglass supplies came from fiberglasssite.com. They shipped amazingly fast. Here the hatch cover has been installed, connected to the hurricane hinge, and we're adding wheels, fenders, and the drip ledge over the door on each side. There's 2 doors and one on each side, and now we're ready to go camping. Thanks for watching.